Hello. Today we're going to do a zip in a cushion back because I think cushions look so much better if they've got a nice neat zip in them. And I like to put my zip a little way up from the bottom of the cushion. The argument being is that when it's on the sofa, it can be sticking out from the back of the sofa or the chair up to about there, and you won't see the zip. If you have it sticking up anymore, it'll actually just fall over. So today, it's how you put a zip in a cushion back. Now, before you begin to put the back on your cushion, please go round the outside edge if you've got any wadding to anchor the wadding to the top fabric. Incidentally, for those of you interested, this is the bias effect from tucks, textures and pleats. Also in tucks, textures and pleats, you will find exactly how to do a zip, but you're going to watch. So do go around the edge. Cut a piece of fabric then that is the same width as your cushion front, but about 2 inches longer. You then need a zip. Now you can have just a normal zip, and you want to choose a zip that is slightly shorter than the complete width of your cushion. If, for instance, you've got too long a zip, you can always chop a little bit off. So don't worry about that. But please only have a plastic zip if you're going to cut it, because it's impossible to cut the metal ones. You might have a zip on a roll, which is really useful because you can then choose to cut exactly the right amount to go across your cushion front. I'm going to use this particular zip, then you can see how I'm putting it in. Taking your piece of fabric that's designed for the cushion back, fold approximately 4 inches up to the right side. So this is the right side. Measure the length of your zip along the fold there and just put a little mark where the head is and where the end of the zip is. With a ruler, I suggest you measure in from the edge of the fabric to that little mark approximately 3/4 of an inch and just draw a line, and do the same thing on the other end, approximately 3/4 of an inch up to the little mark, because we're going to sew on this little mark. So your next move will be to go to the sewing machine. So I've stitched along the drawn line. I started on the outside edge, sewed to the end of the line and back again, both sides. You're now going to slit all the way along the crease. So take a pair of scissors, insert them and just go all the way along that crease. If you prefer, you could always give it a quick press to have a nice sharp crease to cut along. Once you've done that, if you open it out, you are going to open that seam and press it. So open the seam completely and just literally press along it with the iron. When you've done that, take the zip. Now, I like to have it with the zip head going in on the left-hand side, with the zip section, the short section, away from me. And you're going to put the zip head, just tuck it inside there, and we'll need to pin it in place. Now you're only going to need 2 pins, and I just put a couple of pins in this end of the zip. Turn the cushion back over, undo the zip a little way, because it'll make life so much easier when you actually come to do it, if I can find the zip head. And now you'll want to put the zip foot on your sewing machine. You might have a zip foot that resembles something like this one. You might have a zip foot like that one. You might have one like this, or maybe you have one as I have here, which is the one that fits my sewing machine. So onto your machine, please insert the zip. And ideally, thread up with thread top and bottom that matches your fabric. So pop the zip foot on and do make certain you get the needle in the right place. So I have the zip foot on my sewing machine and I've made jolly certain that the needle is on the left-hand side. Notice I've opened the zip. You're going to keep the edge of the fabric aligned with the teeth of the zip. Start down a little bit. Drop your needle down into the work, and it's not a bad idea to bring the bottom bobbin thread to the top at this moment in time. It stops it from getting entangled down below. So pull the bottom bobbin thread to the top, and we're going to begin. Just open the zip a little bit more. On our outward journey, you're going to maintain a short seam allowance, so keeping the zip foot fairly close to the fold on the edge of the fabric. and the fold is going to be aligned with the teeth. Let's go. So sew down a little bit. When you approach the zip itself, drop your needle down, raise the presser foot and slide the zip head past, maintaining the edge of the fabric with the teeth of the zip. Continue all the way down. Keep going. Narrow seam allowance. Keep going. When you get to the bottom of the zip, take a little care because there's a metal end, unless of course you've used the zip on the roll. And just as an aside, if you are using the zip on the roll, it's not a bad idea to stitch across both ends of the zip before you insert it, because if the zip head comes off, it's very difficult to get it back on again. So keep going. When you get down to the end of the zip, just make sure you can feel where that little metal section is. It's here on mine. I'm going to turn past it, drop your needle down, raise the presser foot, turn the work and sew past the end of the zip. Just watch that little metal bit, because if you don't, if you're not getting it quite correct, you will have a problem because the needle breaks rather spectacularly. Needle down, turn, sew across the zip, and on the return journey you're going to take a much wider seam allowance. This time we're going to keep the fold of the zip, the fold of the fabric just overlap the first piece, and keep going, maintaining that seam allowance all the way along. And when you approach the zip head, stop, drop the needle down, raise the zip head up, take it past. If you need to, raise the presser foot underneath there. Sometimes you have to raise the needle up a fraction, slide it past. Remember to drop the presser foot down again and keep going. Now there are 2 pins at the end here, so carefully take the 2 pins out. The zip will still stay in the same place, don't worry about it. Get to the end of the zip, stop, needle down, turn the work, sew back across the end of the zip. There we are. Make sure it's in the right place. I've got it caught slightly underneath there. And remember, you're doing a narrow seam on this section of the zip. When you get back to the beginning again, raise the presser foot, and what I like to do then is to tie the threads off and pull them through to the back. I've pulled the threads through to the back and tied them off and just left a little tail. Take the zipped back and pop it onto your cushion. Remember, you want to put right sides together. Fit it on the corners, pin it in place. When you come to stitch it on, I tend to use 3/8 at least seam allowance, maybe even ½ inch. And so all the way round, 3/8 of an inch in, ½ an inch in, but on the corners I like to do a gentle curve because it does give the cushion, I think, a slightly better finish. You don't get those sort of pointy corners on there. When you start to put the 2 together, start about here, because that way the zip doesn't shift too much. So round here, round here, round here, round here, and I go round twice. So you're going to put your back on the front and sew all the way round, going round twice. When you've done that, you'll have a wonderfully complete cushion as here, but you might like to know how to pipe it. So watch the next video that's coming up on how to pipe a cushion.